they become the man of the house and they start thinking they're making man decisions and that they're bad decisions because they don't have a stronger man there to tell them like don't do that. That doesn't make any sense. So what happened with Iverson that I saw that I think was really unfortunate was I saw a guy who did extraordinary things on the basketball court, but he would do the craziest things in the world when it came to money. He would go and he would go to a city and buy a whole wardrobe, and then he would leave the city and leave all the clothes in the hotel room. And then because he could just buy a whole new wardrobe in the next city, so he would just go city to city and buy a new wardrobe in every city. And I've heard other wealthy people do crazy things like that. I think Floyd Mayweather went to Atlanta. He wanted a car for the weekend, so he bought a Mercedes, and then he didn't want to keep it, so he left it. He just abandoned the car at the airport when he went home because there's so much money flowing around. And if you're not trained on what money is, you're not trained that the money is actually capital. The capital is supposed to be preserved. Then what can happen is you're literally destroying so much more than just the amount of money you spend. So if I waste $1 million, I'm not just wasting $1 million. No, I'm not wasting $1 million. I'm wasting everything that $1 million could have become. Right. So that $1 million, if you invest it over, a generation, becomes, $10 million or something. Right. So I didn't waste 1 million. I wasted 10 million. Right. And effectively, the lack of consciousness, the lack of financial consciousness can cause me to say, hey, I got a pocket full of money. I'm a celebrity. I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. And so if I want to go and spend $100,000 at strip club, I'm going to do it. Well, what makes you even think that that is even normal behavior to begin with? That is absurd behavior. That's ridiculous behavior. It's highly immature. It's almost pathetic behavior. But we, because of the culture and those who manipulate the culture, again, the devil's in the details, the culture tells you that this is perfectly normal. Yeah, of course it makes sense to go put $100,000 in stripper thongs, right? And so effectively, culture is everything. So imagine if Allen Iverson, Floyd Mayweather, all these guys came from a different culture. Let's say they came from a culture like, I don't know. I remember Floyd Mayweather fought this guy named Manny Pacquiao. If you remember, Manny Pacquiao had a different culture. Manny Pacquiao's culture said, when you go out and you become wealthy, you're supposed to take care of not just yourself, you take care of the whole hood. Do anybody remember Manny Pacquiao? How many of y'all remember that? Any boxing fans in here? Let me know if you know that name, Manny Pacquiao. Well, if you recall, when Manny Pacquiao got a bunch of money, the main thing he did with his money was he took care of his whole village or something. Like he gave houses to everybody. It was something crazy like that, and that's a manifestation of the culture. Whereas at the same time, Floyd Mayweather was doing the whole money Mayweather stuff, showing off jewels and chains and $10,000 Gucci bags and stuff like that, because that was his culture. Or imagine if Iverson or Mayweather came from a culture of extreme discipline. Let's say that Allen Iverson was a Mormon, and I don't think Mormons drink and stuff like that. So imagine if he came from a culture. Iverson mentioned he had a drinking problem. So imagine if he came from a culture where a man shows his masculinity by how disciplined he is. He shows masculinity by not drinking, not smoking, not using drugs, not going to excesses when it comes to women, being economically intelligent, doing like the Mormons do. I don't know if you know the story about the Mormons. The Mormons were in the cover of the Wall Street Journal at one point, and the reason they were on the cover of the Wall Street Journal is because they found out that the Mormons secretly had like $100 billion, like that they didn't tell anybody about. It was something like that. Like they didn't go, they didn't say, hey y'all, player, I got 100 billion over here. Right? They didn't do all that. They wasn't flashing, they wasn't doing like, look at my watch, y'all. You ain't got 100 billion. Let me show you my cash out. Right? They didn't do that. No, they literally had $100 billion.